live now. So if you're watching this live, then good afternoon. If you're watching us on a replay, then yeah, just let us know in the comments below what you think. So yeah, today interview discussion with Jill Bowen, who is a business owner of 15 years. She also works with the FSB, Federation of Small Business, as an advisor there. So yeah, hoping we get into some good discussions about what it means to be a small business, solo business owner. What are some of the things that you should be thinking about, things you should be mindful of? But first, Jill, I'll let you introduce yourself.
That's great. Thank you, Matt. Yes, thank you very much. Good introduction there. Yes, so as Matt says, I've had my own business actually in the wedding industry for the past 15 years. I've also had actually other businesses as well. I can mention a couple of them. I had a cleaning business for several years. I also had a business in the equestrian world as well, going quite a few years back now. So I have been self-employed far longer than I've ever been employed. So yeah, I really know what it's like to be, running your own business, all the setup problems, and going forwards in trying to business build, and how to be successful at what you're doing and enjoy it at the same time.
No, fantastic. I think that is key as well. You should enjoy it. A business is something you should enjoy doing and owning and having, and all the benefits that can obviously come with that. We were chatting just a minute ago about people in this audience in my group. It's contractors, freelancers. Many of them will be a director of a limited company, used to operating that way, but predominantly going clients to clients, and can look very much like a temporary employee, for want of a better phrase. Now, the thing that's prompting many people to think about their business is obviously the IR35 off payroll rules that are coming into effect. It's always been present, but I've noticed, even going back a few years, there are really two types of contractors, freelancers: the ones that want the temporary job, and the ones that want to try and grow it as a genuine business. And that's certainly the category that I was in. So maybe to kick things off, what advice would you have for someone that's either just starting this journey, or perhaps been doing it like the temporary employee for many years, but wants to start thinking as a business owner?
Yeah, I think starting as a business owner, going forward with that, is, to my mind, the preferable way to go, I think, because it gives you so much more scope, really, and so many more opportunities as well. Certainly, I would suggest that new business owners and those growing do look at the FSB, because of the value that it gives, and it is entirely focused on small business owners, the SME world. It's giving you support, guidance and advice. It is a non-profit organisation, I would like to add. So the entry level is very low. It's a yearly membership, but the value that it gives to those starting up in business is absolutely fantastic. It just has so many resources. I've actually been a member with my own business for most of those 15 years. And that's why I've also come to work for them as well, because I know the value of it and what it really offers. And it is there, like I like to describe it as your own head office. That's what the FSB is like. So it's very easy when we work on our own to feel that you are scrabbling around a little bit to keep up with legislation and to keep up with the knowledge, the business knowledge. You don't know what you don't know is a really good saying, and I do say it quite often, because you don't. We often get these curveballs coming at us, and to have experts at hand, literally at the end of the telephone, to ask any question at all about any business is absolutely invaluable, and you get the advice that you need straight away. And just to add in now that the FSB offers a lot of events online, in particular at the moment, and there's one coming up now which is all about IR35 and off payroll working. What is it and how is it changing? And that's coming up on the 6th of April. So I would suggest to everybody, have a look at the website of the FSB, click into events and get yourself booked in. You don't need to be a member. You can just go in, get yourself booked on it and join that webinar, join that discussion, because it'll answer a lot of questions, I think, that people are looking to, have those answers to. So
no, that's good. I'll drop the link in the comments below as well, so people can click through and take a look. But I think it's, as you say, I think operating as a business is obviously the way that I would kind of, motivate people towards, because of the opportunity, the flexibility that it gives you. I think, a lot of, contractors, freelancers tend to not work on the business at all, really in many cases, or at least, when they do, it's the admin, it's the accounting, the things that build up that they hate to do, that they get around to eventually. But I think it'd be interesting to kind of hear your perspective on, once you push past those hurdles, what are the opportunities that you can get by offering your services, as a business?
Right. Well, my advice, first of all, actually, just taking one step back from that, is as you grow and as you can afford to, I firmly believe that you employ either self-employed, I mean, preferably probably self-employed to start with, but those people that can take away those mundane things that you don't like doing.
Yeah.
Because rather than just shelving them, like we do, I'm a great one at that as well. Accounts in particular, absolutely hate it. But if you can, employ somebody, whether it's hourly or whatever, just to do all those things you do not like doing. And that could even be, do you know what? I'm going off a bit piece here, but even in your home life, if you can afford to get a cleaner, get a cleaner. Yep. Because it takes away all those, hours that you're spent doing stuff you don't like doing, and it opens up your brain space to be able to then absolutely fire at those things that you're really, really good at, which is all about doing your job. Because I think that is one of the things we can get so bogged down in. As you say, Matt, it's working in the business, not on the business. And working on the business is so vitally important in growing. So, once you've got all that sort of stuff out the way, there are so many VAs out there now, virtual assistants. There are so many offering their services in all different areas. And, if you can just find the one that, you resonate with and can do the work for you just on an hourly basis, that I would really, really recommend straight away. That's quite an important thing as you grow.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
And then it's really focusing on, and there's been a lot of this talk lately, but your ideal client. You got to look at who your ideal client is. Try to stop being everything to everybody, because you can't. And the jack of all trades and master of none is a really old saying. But again,
it's true though, and I 100% agree with that statement. It really is true, and I think a result of that I see is, if you're trying to be all things to all people, then you're relying on your clients telling you what to do. Basically, you're relying on clients somehow, finding you, getting in front of them, and you're probably going to have to go through agencies to do that. And I think the potential for you to deliver value in that way is severely limited. Every client will seem like it's completely like starting from scratch every time.
Yeah, absolutely right. And so many times, you hear people saying, oh yes, but I can help them with this, and I can help them with that, and I can help them with all these other things. I can do all those things. I can be a one-stop shop for people. But that's not the way to do it. Yes, you could be that one-stop shop, but you've got to let your client find that out. So you focus on that ideal client, you focus on that one thing you can do for them, and what the outcome is of what you can do and how that will help them. And then when they've had that value, they'll come back to you to ask for other stuff.
I don't think it limits you. I think it actually massively expands your opportunity that's in front of you.
Yes, it definitely does. So if you concentrate on that one thing that you're really good at, you really enjoy doing, and gives your client the most value, and you can earn the most money, you can get all those things together on one page, then that's absolutely ideal, and everything else will organically grow as you go along. And very important that you get the good testimonials from your clients as well. I think a lot of us have learned that this year, that if people are happy with what you've done for them, ask them to drop you a testimonial or a little email or
Yep.
anything, just to say how did they feel, and what was the outcome, you know, would they use you again, would they recommend you, you know, anything like that, to get some, you know, proof of how well you do your job. Again, really important, and I think that's something that is underestimated also.
No, I think so. And I think if you have clarity on who your ideal client is, that testimonial will naturally be something that speaks to another client that's just like them.
Yeah.
That's having those same problems, rather than
yeah.
chasing everyone in every different direction. You know, the chances of that testimonial resonating are far, far lower, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit of a numbers game, I think, if you're just trying to attract anybody and everyone. I do a lot of networking, particularly at the moment, and it's always what you want to try and avoid. You know, when you're talking about your business in networking, for instance, when they say, you know, who are you looking for? How can we help you? Don't say I'm looking for anyone who. No, you're not looking for anyone. You're looking for a specific kind of person. So that can really make a difference, because the more you really drill down to exactly what you're looking for, the more people will listen to that, and the more people will think, oh yeah, actually, I do know somebody XYZ who's doing this at the moment and needs help. So I think that's a really, really important thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're more referable as a byproduct of that as well. And you know, I started off, 9 years ago, contracting, looking to be the contractor to build that as a scalable business. So the consulting work that I did, I would often work with a client, see another need that they had, and look for other contractors to bring in. But I found that because they were positioning themselves as skills-based on a day rate, I couldn't introduce them to the client, because they made it very difficult to have a conversation about the value they could have, because they relied on the clients making that decision on their behalf. And also working in day rates, for many people, even if there was another prospect or a client, and they said, oh, I want to scale my business, because they were still working from that mindset, they would probably say no to that client anyway, because they wouldn't even know how to deliver value to them in the first place.
That's right. Mindset's really, really important. I think again, a lot of us have learned that through this last year, that with the change of working, that mindset is very, very important. And write all these things down and start to get focus and planning your day and planning your delivery, so that you know that what you're doing has another meaning to move on to something else. So that would be my advice.
A good point. And actually, because of the position that people are in these days with COVID and all the rest of it, remote working is more common. It is the norm now, and we'll see how it continues. And I think in theory, there's people have gained extra time in their day. They're not commuting and those kind of things. Yet I see people working at day rates doing more hours on that day rate for the client, rather than having that focus, as you say, to say, well, how am I spending my time? Can I carve out some of that time to work on my business? Not all of it, but there should be some time you can carve out.
There should definitely be, because for instance, if you were going to a networking meeting, you would have carved that time out.
Yep.
And going to that networking meeting would be about promoting yourself, and obviously finding out about people in the room. But ultimately, the bottom line is you're there to tell people about what you do and how you can help them. And we would take that time out, no problem at all. And for anybody who doesn't network, I would really, really recommend that you do that. Just start to look at networking again. If you go onto the FSB website, there are an enormous number of networking events. They are all free. I think there's currently, in the next 3 months, there's about 250, 260 events going on nationally.
Wow.
So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, so even if you have a local business, you don't want to be traveling far, or you have a business that is national and you can do everything online, then you've got some events to go to where you can meet other businesses and start to spread the word and make yourself more visible. That's the important thing, is being visible, because again, this year it's quite hard, to be visible if you're not wanting to go online too often. But those that have gone online and those that have joined networking events, any networking event, wherever it is, whatever you're doing, just does give you more visibility.
I think that's that's key. So I think it's knowing who who your audience is, so you can communicate that in those kind of networking events is critical, as you say. But no one's going to find you if you're not being visible. So for people that want to move away from the day rate work, don't like working with recruiters and all the rest of it, they are your current mechanism of getting visible, getting in front of people. So as a business owner, why defer that control to somebody else and have them take their cut for it? Look at how you're going to get visible and take charge of that yourself, I would say.
Definitely. And I'm assuming quite a few people here would perhaps be on, or looking at this podcast, would be on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has grown enormously in the last few years, and is a much more go-to platform for those in business than it ever was. I mean, it was always for business, I do get that, but not for every kind of business. And now it's much broader.
I think so. I think it used to be seen by many as an online CV and a recruiting tool, and I think it has now moved beyond that to being a professional social network.
So I would say, if you're not on there, get on there and make sure that your page, your bio, all your information is as up to date as you can make it, so that people can see who you are, and that's what they want to do. They want to see who you are, where you are, what kind of person you are. And even if you're not great at posting, you can at least converse with people on posts, comments, likes, shares, just start making those conversations. That's what's really important.
I think that's the first step, is to start engaging, having those conversations, commenting. That's a way to get more comfortable on the platform, isn't it? And then as you develop that clarity of that value you can deliver, then go the next start initiating conversations, start messaging people more regularly, start tracking how many conversations you're having, and those kind of things.
Definitely. And again, talking about social media platforms, it's not necessary for everyone, but if you don't like that kind of a platform, then you might want to look at the audio one of Clubhouse. Clubhouse, again, is really good if you like to talk, if you like to chat, if you like to sit in a room and listen to other people talking about their businesses or their experiences. Great place to meet new people.
It is. And I think it's a perfect kind of hybrid of listening to a podcast, if you just want to treat it like that, versus a large scale event, versus actually being able to engage on a webinar and those kind of things. It's that hybrid. You can kind of take from it what you choose to put in, can't you?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Yes. You can also waste a lot of time. So be
I can imagine.
Aware.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, it's very good.
Yeah. No, excellent. No, very, very, very good. So you've talked about a few things. We've talked about outsourcing some of the things that make you uncomfortable, which I, again, would agree with. It's that feeling of relief, knowing those things are now being handled. You haven't got to think about it, and the mental energy it takes up deferring. Oh, I know I've got to do the account. I know I've got to do this, that, and the other, which then frees you up, mentally to work on the business. I think having clarity of audience is key, and that visibility is key. I think those are all, very good strategies and tactics people should be thinking about. If people are making the decision to start to do some of those things, you've said you've been in business, more than you've been employed, which I think is fantastic. And what's the motivation for what are the benefits that people could kind of aspire to, having worked through those kind of things?
Being self-employed.
As a business owner, rather than...
business owner, I mean, definitely the benefits for me is probably, I think personally, I don't work terribly well in the confines of office politics or management systems. I find that quite restricting, because I think it's a good thing to have that creativity, which you can have with your own business, certainly. I think it's about being true to yourself. And, you know, we have this spin-off between what money we need to earn and what we would really like to do.
Yeah.
And that can be quite a difficult one, I think, for a lot of people, for me as well, actually. You know, I've had that as well. But I think, you know, we all need to be learning all the time. That's the first thing. We all need to be learning. There have, again, been so many online courses this last 12 months. There's so much opportunity out there to either retrain in something else or to update your skills.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you can never underestimate, keeping yourself up to date with you know, what your industry's doing, which is something I like to do on a regular basis. But at the same time, what I like about self-employment is that you know, my time is to be organized myself. So I can fit in the things I need to do. And certainly some of the things I want to do that I couldn't do as a self-employed person. But I think mostly it's that opportunity of having no restrictions on what you can earn, no restrictions on what you can create, and no restrictions on what you can provide. And you can really be yourself and have that true kind of uniqueness that you offer to your clients. And that to me is really important. Yeah.
I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head. That I think that is the biggest thing, really, the biggest, you know, most useful outcome, you know, the best kind of driver motivation for that. You know, I think people can say, oh, I want, you know, more money, etc. So, well, to do what with, you know, and there are, you know, baseline levels, of course, and there are aspirations of things people would like to be able to do with that. But I think the flexibility, the self-direction, and not being confined and having someone make those decisions for you, I think is the absolute you know, key thing, really, that that business ownership, you know, if done right, kind of provides for you.
And I think it, you know, if entrepreneurship suits you, and it doesn't suit everybody, that is true to say, but if it does suit you, you won't ever go back to being employed again. You'll stay self-employed.
I think so. And I think for people on the fence about, you know, do they want to work, you know, inside IR35, you know, fixed term contracts, if they want to be that temporary employee, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But just know that is what you want.
That's the thing. That is the absolute key, is working in the way that you want to work, doing what it is that gives you the most, you know, motivation and joy in what you're doing, because the happier you are, the better you deliver that outcome for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if that is the right thing for you, then go for it. But if it's not, I hate to see people held back because of the mindset or the preconceptions about what that would involve, or almost guilt sometimes, or imposter syndrome of feeling, well, I can't take on another client because then I couldn't deliver to this client. So, well, if you do it right, yes, you can, and everybody can win in that scenario, and that's you working on the business as well as in the business.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're going to be working, you know, as your own business, you need to be very, very clear what you're offering your clients, and not only in what the outcome's going to be for them or the work you're going to be doing for them, but how much of you they're going to have. How much of you, because I think it's an easy thing when you are self-employed to, I don't want to say over deliver, because that's not what I mean, because over delivering is not a bad thing at all, you know.
No.
As opposed to under delivering, most definitely. But it's all about not making yourself too available to the point that it intrudes into either you working with other clients or into your time you need for yourself. That's something to be aware of, I think, with self-employment. Not, you know, be very, very clear on what you're offering your client. Very clear.
I think so, and make it about the value and the outcome rather than the mechanism to deliver that value, which could be your time. I think decouple those two things from each other, and you'll see a lot more success for your clients and for yourself.
Yes.
As well.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah. And at the same time, I would just add as well, I'm a great book reader. I read a lot of self-help books as well, and motivational books. And, people like doing that. There are so many really good books to read. The one I wrote recently, it's a very old book, actually. I've been meaning to read it for ages, but it was The Go-Giver. And The Go-Giver is not a very long book. It's a tiny little thing, but it's really good. It's really good. And it's all about helping others first before you help yourself, because that's what will get you where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think helping others by delivering value, there's nothing salesy or false about that. It's a scenario that everybody wins, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly, because I think so. And I've been in sales for many years. I mean, because I've obviously run my own business, but I've actually been in direct sales, and to a degree, that's what I do with the FSB now. It is really direct sales, because it's all about creating new members for the FSB. But at the same time, it's doing that sale by offering the value. Yes. That's the really important thing. It's offering the value in the sale, because then the sale will come to you. It will just come to you automatically, rather than just going out pitch. And people don't buy that instantly anymore. They like to know people. They like to know the business. They like to know what that person is all about.
No, absolutely. And I think in those scenarios, which is how I would encourage everybody to sell every time, it is not what many people might think of as selling. It is far more consultative in nature, looking for mutual value, looking to see where there's alignment. And the client, when they say yes, they feel happy that they've done so.
That's right.
And they're looking forward to working with you. It's very positive, isn't it?
Definitely. And it is really what I do with the FSB all the time. It's about just having those conversations, answering people's problems, showing them where the solution is, if you like. But at the same time, it's probably worth me saying that, although I work for the FSB, I am completely self-employed. So it's very important for me that I create that relationship with somebody who gets to, as we say, know, like, and trust me, so that when they're ready to join, they come to me. And they don't go, to head office directly, which is obviously what I wouldn't want them to do. But they come to me because they feel safe in my space, talking to me about anything to do with their business. And, it's obviously very confidential, some of the stuff that I can discuss with people about their businesses. But it's good to build that relationship and get to know people as a person as well as just a business owner.
I think so. The old saying about people buy from people, it's always been true and will always be true.
It will be. Computers will never take over absolutely everything.
No,
it'll still be the people behind them and at the end of them.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, no, I want to thank you for discussion so far. I think there's a massive amount of value there, a lot of takeaways for people in this group. Just before we wrap things up, because I want to be respectful of your time, is there anything further you want to add?
I think, well, certainly, I mean, if anybody would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please do feel free. I'm open book in terms of connecting, and do have a look at the FSB website, have a look at the events, book yourself in for some of those events, the ones that you'll be interested in. And if you're in the Somerset area in particular, then that's the area I work in primarily, but I can speak to anybody across the country. But I'll be in some of those networking events. So do come and have a chat with me if you would like to. And because really, I want to hear about what you do, because that's what really interests me. I really am fascinated about what other people do and what their story is to get them where they are now.
Perfect. No, I think that's a great way to end it. I'll drop your LinkedIn details in a comment on the post when that's all there. So then if people do want to get in touch with you, then I'd obviously encourage them to do so.
That would be perfect.
Thanks once again.
Thank you very much, Matt. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Good.